All right, everybody, welcome to Monday Night Restorative Yoga Flow. We are going to be embarking upon a 45-minute journey to shake the Monday blues and open up our hip flexors. And we're doing a yin-based yoga tonight. So what that means is we're going to be holding poses for a little longer than you normally would in more of a vinyasa type of a class. So the purpose of a restorative class is to do it slowly, to rejuvenate the muscles and restore health to the cells and the muscles inside. So we're going to move slowly, focus on the breath, breathing through the postures. There are going to be times where you might feel a little uncomfortable because we're holding the postures a little longer. Just breathe through it. You'll be fine, I promise. And my name is Jen Seregos. I'm the founder of The Health Formula. I work with people all over the country. I help them create personalized health blueprints so that they can hit peak performance mentally and physically. And we are in the midst of a new moon tonight and tomorrow night. And I don't know how many of you are familiar, but new moons are really powerful, great for manifesting. And so what I would like to invite you all to do tonight during your practice is to think of something to let go of, whether it's an anger towards a certain thing, or whether it's to let go of control. I know that's something I could work on. So take this opportunity, use the energy of the new moon to think about something in your life that is no longer serving you, whether it's a thought or a belief or an emotion that is not serving your higher purpose, that is not helping you in this path. And as we go through the practice, let's let go of some of that negative energy and invite more light and love and compassion into our lives. And with that, why don't we go ahead and get started? Since we're all seated, why don't we go ahead and start seated tonight? So let's go ahead and take our arms up over our head. Breathe nice and deep. And we're just going to reach to the sky, side to side, taking nice long breaths. Good. And let's clasp the hands together and put our palms towards the sky. And just bring the arms back as far as you can. And now bring your head up and look up towards your hands. Let's take a few breaths here. What we want to focus on is lengthening in the torso, lengthening in the shoulders. And you're going to notice your knees are going to want to pop up. So just try to pay attention to that. Breathe through it. Try to release any tension in your knees and your hips. Good. Let's go ahead and release both hands to the side. And now we're going to lean into the left hand. And we're just going to breathe in, stretching through. It doesn't matter what side you do. We'll do both sides, I promise. And now let's go ahead and look up behind us to get a nice little twist into this posture. Good, and let's release into the other side, leaning into that right side, taking some nice deep breaths. What are you letting go of tonight? And let's go ahead and twist and look up towards that arm, towards that elbow. Feel that twist. Good, release. And one more time. Go a little deeper on this one, a little deeper. Breathe a little bit more into it. And go ahead and twist and look up towards that right elbow, the elbow that's in the sky. And release, switch sides. Take a nice deep breath. And look up towards that left elbow that's up in the sky. and release. Excellent. Good. So now let's go ahead and find ourselves into tabletop position. We're going to be on our hands and our knees to start. We're going to curl our toes under us. Our hands are under our shoulders, about perpendicular. And we're going to breathe in and arch the back. Looking up and breathing out. And rounding the back. This is cat-cow. Breathing in. And out. And in. And out. Go ahead now and do 2 with your own breath. Go at your own pace. Good. Let's find our way into child's pose. We're going to hang out in child's pose for a little while. Get comfortable. Breathe into it. Good. Let's go ahead and take that right arm underneath, cross it across your chest, and bring your head back down to the mat. If you want to feel more of a stretch, you can bring that hand a little higher. Breathe into the areas that are tight. Notice where you're feeling tension and just breathe into that area. Go ahead and switch side. Good. Let's bring our hands back in front of us, back to tabletop, into plank. Good. Let's go ahead and release down to our mats, resting on our mats. Good. And now let's go ahead and take our hands by our chest, but not touching the mat. And go ahead and breathe in and lift your chest up. Good. Release. Let's release for a few breaths here. Remember to move with the breath. Yoga is a movement with your breath, focusing on the breath. Let's go ahead and bring our hands back to our chest. Let's go ahead and lift the chest up again. And now let's lift both of our feet, trying to keep the toes together. Maybe even putting the knees together. and release. Now let's bring our hands to our chest, and this time we're going to push up into cobra. Good. And release. And push up into cobra again. Release. 3 more. Let's go on up. And release. On again. And release. And our last one. Breathing in, looking up, stretching the neck. Let's bring our toes underneath of us and go into our first downward dog. Go ahead and kind of walk the feet, the heels back and forth a little bit. Take a few breaths here. And let's take a few breaths now, holding our downward dog. And let's go ahead and lift the right leg up in the air and bending that right knee. You should be able to see your right foot underneath your left armpit. The idea is to breathe peace and serenity into maybe a difficult pose. Come back down. Let's go ahead and lift that left leg up. And bend that left knee. Good. Let's bring that left foot back down to the mat. And now we're going to walk our hands to meet our feet to the back of our mat. Let's bring our feet together, toes touching, big toes touching, ankles not touching. So the outsides of your feet are going to be parallel with each other. And let's go ahead and cross our arms in front of us and just hang. If you need to bend your knees here, please go ahead and do so. You may feel your weight shift to your heels or your toes. You want to feel your weight shift backwards towards your heels more. Let your neck relax. Let everything just hang. Good. Let's bring our hands down to the mat. And now, from where you are, you want to put your right hand on the center of the mat. Now, if that's not available to you, you can put your right hand on your knees or your shin. And we're just going to bring the left arm up towards the sky and feel a nice twist. Good. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. Good. Let's bring both of our hands back down to the mat and slowly make our way up to standing. One vertebrae at a time, nice and slow. Good. And let's go ahead and make our way to the top of our mat. Let's bring our toes together, ankles slightly apart. Take a deep breath in mountain pose. Breathing in, let's bring the hands up to the sky. And now what you're going to do is bring the left hand to your hip, and we're going to stretch that right side. Lean, that's the word I'm looking for, lean. It's like, what's that word? Good, let's go ahead and switch to the other side. Good, back to center. And let's go ahead and breathe in, arms up to the sky. Breathe out, swan dive down. Breathe in, look halfway up. Breathe out, forward fold, breathing in into plank. Good, let's go into our up dog or cobra if you want to go into cobra. And into down dog. Good, let's go ahead and bring that right foot forward into a low lunge. And we're going to breathe into this low lunge tonight. So we're going to do a lot of hip openers tonight. This is our first longer hold. We're going to hold for 10 full breaths. Think happy thoughts. Good, let's go ahead now and release that knee down to the mat. And bring our arms up towards the sky. Shoulders are going to want to be down while your hands are reaching forward. Good, now let's go ahead and release the right arm down towards your mat and stretch that whole left side. Good, back to center. Now let's go ahead and bring that left knee up off the mat. Now we can hold here. You can hold with your knee on the mat if that's more comfortable for you. And we're just going to raise our hands up. And we're going to hold this for a full 10 breaths. We have got good music while we're keeping our poses. Good, let's go ahead and release. Bring our hands back to the mat. Let's go ahead and bring that front right foot to meet the left foot back into plank. Release into our chaturanga, into our up dog or cobra. Good. And into down dog. Let's go ahead and bring the left foot forward into our low lunge with the left foot. Again, let's get comfortable here. Think about what you want to create when you go home tonight. New moon magic. All right, let's release that right knee to the ground. Bring our hands up. Bringing your hips forward so you can feel a nice stretch in that right hip flexor. Good. And go ahead and release that left arm towards the ground. And just sink a little bit deeper into it. Okay, let's go ahead and bring that back knee up into our lunge. Hands up in the air. Again, if you want to have your knee down on the ground, that's perfectly fine. This is your practice. You do what your body is telling you to do. Always be comfortable. It's not a competition, except maybe with yourself. Good. Let's bring our hands back down to the mat, bringing that left foot back to meet the right foot in plank into our up dog and into down dog. Good. Let's go ahead and walk our feet back up to our hands. Breathing in, look halfway up. Breathing out, look forward, fold. And come all the way up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our feet about 2 fist lengths apart. And we're going to bend at the hips, leading with the chest, breathing in. We're going to forward fold. And we're going to grab our 2 big toes with our 2 first fingers. Elbows are coming out to the side, breathing in, chest up, and breathing out, forward fold. And if your toes aren't available to you tonight, that's perfectly fine. You're still getting a good stretch. That's all that matters. You can also bend your knees if you want to grasp your toes. Good. Breathing in, look halfway up. And now, if you're feeling extra adventurous, we're going to go ahead and stand on our hands. If this isn't available to you tonight, that's perfectly fine. Go back to grabbing your toes or wherever you're grabbing. Take some breaths and relax in this pose. Good. Go ahead and bring your gaze forward. Go ahead and release the hands. And let's make our way back to standing. Good. Now we're going to take a wide stance with our toes pointing inward. Good. And let's go ahead and clasp our hands behind our back. And we're going to lead with the chest again, breathing in and folding at the hips. Good. Let's go ahead and release our hands. And now we're going to bring our hands to the left foot. And what I want you guys to do is bend that left knee. Come into a side lunge. Good. Everyone should be feeling the inside of their thigh. If you want to feel the stretch deeper, you can come forward, bringing your chest forward towards the floor. Good. Let's go ahead and come back to center and switch sides. Your heel most likely will be off the ground, the right heel. And let's go back to the left side one more time. And to the right. Moving our bodies in a new way. Well, not a new way, an old way that we haven't done in a while. For getting technical. Okay, let's come back to center. Bringing our toes inward. And now we're going to bring both of our hands to the outside of the right foot. One of my all-time favorite songs. Nice.
I know all the words.
I do. Okay, let's switch sides. Good. Let's come back to center. And now what I'm going to invite you to do is to cross your arms in front of you and to hang and to just make your body like a pendulum and swing from right to left. Good, and now wherever you are, just kind of let it just do its thing. Let it go slowly into stillness. And go ahead and bring yourself back up to standing. Let's bring our feet together. We're going to have two fists. We're going to bring them into the small of our back and just look up and arch that back. Good. Come back to center. So yoga wouldn't be yoga without at least one balancing pose for the evening. So let's go ahead and put all your weight on your left foot. Go ahead and sink that foot into the earth. And now we're going to go ahead and take the right foot and cross it over our left thigh. And we're just going to sit like we were sitting in a chair, bringing our hands to prayer position. If you want to take it to the next level, you can bring your right elbow to your right ankle. Remember to breathe. Always a good thing. All right, let's go ahead and release. Shake that leg out. I know, it happens to me all the time. I'm like, I just got it. Come on. It's okay, we have another side. All right, let's sink the right foot into the earth. And go ahead and take the left foot and bring it over. Good. And let's bring that left elbow to the left ankle. You'll notice one side's probably better balanced than the other. That's perfectly normal. Just go through each pose without judgment for yourself. Take the pressure off. You're here, you're practicing, that's why it's called a practice. And release. Let's shake the legs out. Good. Okay, now let's go ahead and come to the top of our mats. Mountain pose, and breathing in. Breathing out, swan dive down. Breathing in, look halfway up. And forward fold. And into plank. Good. From plank, we're going to make our way to pigeon. Let's bring the right foot forward. Your right foot's going to want to be parallel if you're so flexible, which I am not. And go ahead and release. We're going to hold this pose for a few minutes. Take some breaths. Take a siesta. And then afterwards is the fiesta. Good. Let's go ahead and bring our palms back up. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to sit on that right side and swing the left leg over, bringing that left foot on top of the right knee. And we're going to take our hands and push down on that left knee, pushing away from you, feeling a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a stretch in the hip flexor. Should be more on the outside of the hip flexor. Good. Let's go ahead now and release that foot backwards again, back into our starting position, back into plank. And now from plank, we're going to bring our left foot forward into pigeon on the left side. And go ahead and relax, release. Enjoy this pose. It's a really good hip opening pose. And in yogic tradition, this pose is actually thought to release negative emotions as well. It's supposed to release blocked energy in the root chakra. So if you need to release some energy, this is the pose for it. Good. Let's go ahead and bring our hands back up. And let's bring that right foot over on top of that left knee. Pushing that knee away, feeling a stretch. Good. Let's go ahead now and uncross the legs, bringing both of our feet out in front of us. Shake it out a little bit. And we're going to do another twisting pose. So let's go ahead now and take the right foot, cross it over the left leg, and go ahead and just hug that right knee and twist to your right. Good. Let's come back to center. Releasing that right foot. Now we're going to bring the left foot over, hugging that left knee, twisting to the left. Good. Let's go ahead and release. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring our palms to the mat behind us. our fingers pointing forward, and we're just going to bring our hips up to the sky. And from here, you can look up or you can bring your gaze forward. It's totally up to you, whatever is more comfortable for your neck. Really try to bring those hips up now. Breathe into it. Breathe in. And release. And come back down. Good. Let's bend the knees. Feet flat on the ground. Release down to the mat. Arms at your sides. And let's go ahead now and bring our hips up and clasp our hands behind our back as we bring our hips up into a half bridge. And from here, if you want to do a full bridge, now would be the time. Otherwise, you can hang out in half bridge. We're going to take a few breaths here. Good. Let's go ahead and release back down and take our hands behind our head. And now we're just going to gently pull our head forward and get a nice little stretch in the back of our neck. Good. Go ahead and release. Let's go ahead and hug our knees and our chest and rock back and forth. Give our backs a little massage. And let's go ahead now and with the knees bent, roll to the left side and open up your arms and twist your upper torso to the right. Take a breath in and bring our knees back to our chest. And slowly bring our knees back over to the right side. Opening up that left side of your chest. Let's go ahead now and bring our knees back to the center. And make your way to Shavasana, extending the legs, arms out at the sides, palms facing up. Take a few moments to breathe. Honor yourself for coming to this beautiful practice tonight. Remember the intention you set at the beginning. bring your attention back into the room, wiggling your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, make your way to a seated position. So I'll end our practice tonight with one of my favorite Rumi quotes, which is, "I once was clever, and so I wanted to change the world. But now I am wise, and so I want to change myself." Have a beautiful week, and I hope to see you guys next time. Namaste. It's always good with the music, live music, right?
I want live music every time now.
I know, I want live music everywhere I go. I want it in the car while I'm driving.
Yes, that's all I want.